we know that the new CJ, that's the Chief Justice, will be appearing before Parliament. And so Joseph Opoku Gapo had a conversation with the Chairman of Parliament's Appointments Committee and Joe Osei-Wusu. Well, we bring you that conversation next. And then thereafter, we'll bring you concern about the abuse of elderly persons is said to be also on the rise in Ghana, despite the existence of a national aging policy approved by government 7 years ago. And local NGO guardians of Grey Masters Foundation suggest that adults suffer physical, spiritual, and emotional torture each passing day. And so the executive director, Abigail Appiah, tell Joy News the majority of such cases go unreported. But more so, Mama Vioso Abuaje is continuing with our discussions on males and whether, well, fertility is a big concern. But now we bring you the conversation with Joe Osei-Wusu, chairperson for the Parliamentary Committee on Appointment. Do stay on.
Okay, so we've come to the office of the First Deputy Speaker of Parliament, the Honourable Joseph Osei-Wusu, who is also the Chairman of Parliament Appointment Committee. Honourable, thanks very much for joining us. Earlier, we had seen the publication indicating that Chief Justice nominee, Madam Sophia Akuffo, would be appearing before the committee on Monday for the vetting. What has changed?
Well, what has really changed is the consideration we have come to. That one, we advertised for 19th because we wanted to give 14 days notice for petitions. At the close of the 10th day, no such petition has been placed before us. And then we are considering the vacuum. The sitting Chief Justice has retired. She's left. She's taken another position as the member of the Council of State. Somebody has been named. She's not being vetted and approved, and so she cannot be sworn in. Even though there are other senior members, but they practically cannot act. And so what we are having is a vacuum in the leadership of the judiciary, and we think that we should act quickly to see that vacuum. So it's a consideration we came to. Second, we also consider the fact that if after 10 days there are no petitions, then there may as well not be any petitions. And sometimes if the appointment is controversial, you can gauge from the discussions, and yeah, it doesn't appear to be much controversial discussions and objections to her nomination. So we think that if we abridged the time, it will not cause any furore. It will not negatively affect the process. And that's why we decided to do it, so that by next week she will be sworn in and she'll be ready to start work.
Wasn't this considered even before you set the date in order for her to come for the vetting?
Well, I think we have not considered the retirement date of the sitting Chief Justice at the time. That her time was due, so that there will be a vacuum of about 2 weeks before anyone will be sworn in. We didn't consider that.
If you really wanted to get this done in a way that would help deal with the power vacuum, the indication is that her appointment was done last month, very early last month. We had all that duration up until now. If we really wanted to avoid a situation of a vacuum being created, we could have cured this long ago, couldn't we?
Well, as I said, if we had considered the retirement, the effective retirement date of the then sitting Chief Justice, we may have programmed it such that we will finish for her to be sworn in either immediately after or not, but we hadn't considered the date, the effective retirement date of the then sitting judge, and therefore we had just planned our program only to realize that there will be such a gap, and because that it's not good for the judiciary.
Is it fatal, the gap that's been created that you point to?
I don't understand fatal, but what it means is that there will be no effective leadership, so to speak, on matters that requires the immediate attention of the Chief Justice. It may delay, it may affect other things, so that's why.
Okay. But moving the vetting by just 3 days, it's essentially 1 day, because it's from a Monday to a Friday. So in terms of working days, it's just a 1 day. That's not expected to make much difference, would it?
Well, it will, because if we do it on Monday, we may be able to finish the report about Wednesday, and then it may take a whole week. If we were to do it Friday, we'll use the weekend to do the report, and then we'll be able to finish it and probably have the president swear her in on Monday. That would have saved the whole week. We are eager to see that she resumes work next week.
Would anything be different with her vetting compared to how you had seen you vet ministers and deputy ministers?
Yes, we intend that this one will be different to the extent that she is the ultimate. Ministers are only assistants to the president. This one is the ultimate, and once she is confirmed, finished, unless you prove misconduct on her behalf, you can't touch her, and therefore we want to make sure that we explore her capabilities and let the public build confidence in her, expose her to the public, So we have changed the program. We are allowing every member who wishes to ask a question 20 minutes. The 20 minutes, ask.
All the 26 members, everyone would have 20 minutes.
Yes, ask as many questions as you can in 20 minutes. If you don't want to ask any question, no big deal. But as many questions as you can in 20 minutes. We have also invited the chairman and ranking member of the Constitution and Legal Committee and the Judiciary Committee to come and assist in this matter. So we'll bring the expertise of those committees that are directly responsible for the judiciary and legal justice to be part of the appointments committee. So we think that the experience and competence will be brought to bear on this one.
And each of them would also have the same 20 minutes, just for clarity?
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
Okay. So that in terms of, usually there's this conversation that the whole vetting process is just a mere formality. We can expect that she'll go through it in the end. How do you respond to some of those criticism that maybe it's not even an entirely necessary process because she'll sail through, most likely?
Do you have any reason which she should not say through? Do you doubt her competence? We asked for some of her judgments and other publications. They've been delivered. So in addition to her CV, we have insights into her mind, how she works. That should enable us to help expose her to the public. But really, why should people expect that nominees should fail even if they are competent and they have demonstrated that? I have argued that it would be a bad decision for a president to nominate somebody to appear before the appointments committee for the person to fail. What it would mean that the president may not have done his homework well. So people shouldn't expect that merely because we sit as an appointments committee, people should fail. No, the president or the appointing authority would have done their homework well on the person's competence, qualification, and experience. And so, yes, it's a matter of course, but the Ghanaians also get to share in what the president sees in that person, the value the president thinks that person is bringing to bear in public service. So build confidence in the person.
Final two questions. And so you indicated that you've asked for her judgment and also some research publications that she had done. What difference will that make in terms of the kind of questioning that you'd put out to her? Would it be, for example, that particularly for you, the lawyers and the committee may be questioning some of those judgments possibly? Would that be allowed?
Yes, you may want to offer an alternative view on a judgment, but largely it enables you to have an insight into that person's thinking process, her philosophy. In jurisprudence, there's a school of thought that when we say the law, we mean the judges, and that whatever the judges say is what is the law. So we Parliament put down the words, but the judges interpret them. So, for example, reading her judgments, you can discern how does she consider good governance? How does she believe that the law can be used to promote the case of people with disability? These are all things that you can glean from the person's pronouncements he has made, one or two in those areas, So it is to enable us understand her and let Ghanaians know that this Chief Justice, that was what you can expect of her.
And so beyond the vetting process, what happens before eventually she gets the nod to be Chief Justice? That's my final question.
If we, the committee, are satisfied that she's qualified, that's why we ask for her CV. The constitutional requirements are there. If we look at her CV and she qualifies, then the next thing is to ask her questions to show how competent she is, and we will make a recommendation to the plenary, the entire House. If the recommendation is accepted, then we vote to say, Mr. President, we are giving our prior approval. So the President then will swear her in. So after vetting, there's approval by the entire House, and then there's the swearing in.